All right, welcome one and all. And today we're going to meet up with one of our former students or alumni, Pedro, who graduated from the Craft Academy bootcamp a month and a half ago, something like that. You were part of the summer bootcamp, weren't you?
Exactly.
Right. And what I hope for is that Pedro can tell us a little bit of his post bootcamp experience, how he landed a job, what happened, what was this up and downs, and setbacks and successes, and hopefully we can do a little Q&A to hopefully inspire you guys who are attending the bootcamp at the moment or will attend soon. Um, to do whatever he did. Apparently, he did something right. So, Pedro, tell us what's going on. Introduce yourself to the guys who doesn't know you and tell us your story.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, like you said, I just finished the bootcamp like a month and a half ago. Yeah, my name is Pedro. I'm from Portugal originally, and I guess like most of you, or maybe all of you that are here, I was tired of my old professional life, and I chose to change my career path and joined Craft Academy. So yeah, when we talked about having this like this meeting in this Q&A session, um, was just like for me to share, yeah, a little bit of my experience and my story, because there was even some colleagues of mine asking me some questions about what I did after the boot camp, and some kind of specific questions that I feel that are valuable for everyone's experience. So like actually like I didn't even prepare anything for this talk. I just want to like have a chat with you guys and share my experience. And if you have any questions, like I'm super happy to answer, because again I was exactly where you are a couple of or a month and something ago, and I also had a lot of questions, and I know like the value of having those questions answered. Um, so yeah, regarding my story, I uh, as soon as I finished, well, I was actually during my last week at the bootcamp. We were doing the final project, and I got in contact with this recruiter, which I learned it's there's a lot of them. There's a lot of recruiters out there looking for people. I assume that some of you are here in Stockholm, some are in Gothenburg, or maybe even in other places. Well, sadly, I can only speak about the Stockholm experience. That's what I know. But one thing that maybe is the first question that you have on your mind, and I can answer right now, like developers are still in very high demand here in Sweden, and that won't change anytime soon for the looks of it. Looks like the necessity of programmers only has increased. Um, so yeah, I had this meeting well, actually a phone interview with a recruiter, um, and we hit it off, and she sent me a test for me to do. And actually that test, and I said that to you guys before, like that test was one of my main validations of the Craft Academy experience, because the test that I did was like originally not made for a junior developer, because they weren't even looking specifically for a junior developer. So they sent me the test for me to try to do it, and to see how far I could go. And um, and I did the test like with no problem, even though it wasn't designed for a junior developer. And everything that came off in that test, everything we had worked on during the boot camp. So I'm right now on a front end position. So it was a React test, and the test was all about Redux, state management, making backend calls with Axios, just like we do at Craft Academy. So that was like a very good, excellent validation for me that actually these guys are doing something right. So yeah, like the test went really well, and they looked at the test. They were really impressed, and they called me in for a second interview, and then third interview, and then on the fourth interview, I finally got an offer. And yeah, now I've been working. This is on I'm on my third week, I think, and yeah, it has been great. Like, everything was worth it. Like, every time that Thomas pushed us, like, even though we didn't like it, sometimes we feel, or at least I feel, that like all that work and all that dedication and all that pushing was worth it. Because like it may sound a little cliche and a little tacky, but like I'm actually like living the dream. Like, I'm working on this super cool office in Gamlastan with an awesome view to the water and to the island, and everyone here is super nice. This is a small startup. Everyone is super nice, and everyone is helping me a lot to know the application and know their workflow. So it has been great. Like, I'm more than happy. So you guys really have something to strive for. One thing that I can say maybe is that because we finished in our cohort, we were like 5 that finished, or 6. And I think all of them are employed now, except for Julie, that she was a student. She wasn't actually looking for a job. And one thing that I can say is that the experience that I'm having is not general, as I know there are some colleagues that are not having as good as an experience as I am. I guess it depends a lot on the company, and depends a lot on what you like and in what environment you would like to work. I was lucky enough to find a perfect fit, because like I found exactly what I was looking for. But I don't know, that there's people that prefer working on a bigger company, more established, with more established processes and whatnot. I have some friends, some colleagues from the course that are not so happy because they entered a company so small they don't have processes at all. So when they started, they weren't onboarded. So they kind of felt a little bit lost in the beginning. So there's a lot going on, and there's companies for everything. So I guess you guys should well, the luck factor is actually there, of course, but maybe, I don't know, like the sensation that I have, because when I was doing the bootcamp, I always told myself and everyone that when I would start like for a job, I wouldn't care where the job was or what it was. I just wanted to start working as soon as possible. And maybe that's not the smartest thing to do, actually, because like I said before, like, programmers are in high demand, and we don't actually need to settle for the first thing. It's good for you to consider everything, the company itself, the product, if it's something that you're interested in and passionate about, if the work environment is appealing to you. So yeah, there's a lot of things to consider, and there's no rush for you to just jump into the first thing that happens, because then you might have bad experiences and might find yourself looking for another job 2 or 3 months after.
May I come in with a few questions before
Of course, my friend.
I just want to kick him off. I have a lot of questions, but so it sounds amazing, and thank you very much for the validation. I think it's really important. It's important for me personally to hear, because we know that it's good, but it's still, you have the first-hand experience from the market. Just a few things about that. Um, so the coding that you did in the bootcamp was relevant. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, that's a fair assessment.
Okay, but we deal with so many other things. Like we hammer in this agile mindset, these processes, this all the Scrum stuff, and things that I don't know if you were there, but I know a lot of students are sometimes perceiving as a little bit of an obstacle. I just want to code. Coding is what I came for. But if you would weight that, how relevant is all the things that we deal with during the boot camp in your everyday work today, but also like in the hiring process? Was that something that they took into consideration?
Yeah, of course. Well, first of all, yeah, the coding, of course, it was relevant. One thing that I learned is like there's no irrelevant code. Um, even if you're at the boot camp and you love front end and you're doing a Ruby exercise or a backend exercise, and you might think, oh, I'm doing this backend stuff, but I really should be doing front end because front end is my thing. But while you're doing coding for something else than React or whatever, like that coding is still a valuable experience, and you'll learn a lot because coding is not just about that language or that syntax. It's a lot about the logic. That's why I always to the new cohort that entered when we were leaving. One thing that I always advised them was to do the freaking code wars, because if there's one thing that I regretted from the boot camp is that I didn't follow through with the code with the katas. I just did a couple and then never did them again. Um, but I think that it's an awesome exercise for you to get the logic about the coding, and that's the most important part, because like then if you find a job with Ruby or with C# or whatever, that's just syntax. As long as you know and you get the logic, like you are good in pretty much every possible language. So what was the question?
No, about the agile approach and
Yeah.
the agile mindset
Now
apart from the technical skills.
regarding the agile and the test even driven development, one thing that I noticed is that every company is either doing it or wants to implement it, both agile and test driven development. So for example, here we do agile, we do Scrum, just like we do in the Craft Academy. Every day we have our stand-ups, we have our sprint design, our design sprints, our sprints retrospective. We have everything is exactly like we used to do in Craft Academy. And testing, they don't do it that much, but one of the pluses, one of the key points for them to want to hire me is because I had this testing experience and they want to start doing more testing. And that's one of the things that they kind of put on my shoulders, that I'm the one that's going to start driving the testing part. So yes, everything that we've done at Craft Academy was super relevant, both all the coding, as the agile, the Scrum, and the test driven development.
Thank you. Guys, fire away if you have questions. Otherwise, I will just keep on asking them.
I have a question,
I have a
Pedro.
question. Oh, go ahead, Carissa.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask the jobs you applied for. Like now I know they reached out to you, but you know what for the other guys did? Do you apply for any job regardless of what the seniority they say, or do you just go for the junior ones? Because it feels like when you look at the junior ones, they're very, very, very junior compared as to what we are doing during this bootcamp.
Yeah. So one thing that you also have to keep in mind is that like you're not actually juniors, because like the conception that they have about juniors is like someone that has like just finished a computer science degree, has a lot of knowledge regarding all the logic and the coding and whatnot, but never worked on this type of environments. And when you get, well, at least I felt that when you get out of the Craft Academy bootcamp, you're already on another level, because working on the bootcamp is like working on a real company. You have a pitch, you have an application, and you have to build it, just like they do on real companies. So when you finish the bootcamp, I think you're already past the junior developer part, I think. But of course, also that depends on how much work you put on and all that. That said, and going back to what I said in the beginning, maybe don't like do your applications exclusively on junior developer jobs, because of course you get a worse pay, and you're already ready for the next level, for not to be just the junior developer. Like in my case, I was super lucky because I didn't have to look for a job. I just like coincidentally find this recruiter, and everything went well. But I know that the guys that I did the cohort with, they applied for pretty much everything that they could find that fit more or less their needs.
But I would say that comment also calls for a little bit clarification, because yes, you got in touch with the recruiter, but she pitched you to a company. The company still puts you through an interview process, right?
Oh yeah, and a very thorough one.
Yeah. So you mentioned 4 interviews.
Yeah.
Could you just briefly, and I think this might be interesting for the students, like what was the first interview, about the second, the third, and the fourth, until you finally got an offer? A little bit about each interview, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
Unless you're breaching any,
No,
if you can talk
no,
about it.
Not at all. Yeah, I can tell what the meetings were about. But again, I think this is not like universal, and I don't think that all the companies do it like this. And I know there are companies that put more value on some stuff than others. For example, there are companies that put more value on your skill sets and on your knowledge set. There are other companies like this one that put more value on you, like, or your personality, and if you will fit in the culture. Because like there are things like coding you can learn and you can adapt and you can be taught, but there are other things that you can't teach anyone, like to fit in a good environment and to be a good teammate, and to like maybe you can teach and you can train that, but like it's not as easy. So here, yeah, the first interview was a phone interview. I guess it's just like a general vetting, just to see if you're not a psychopath or something.
And yet you passed.
Yeah, I'm a good actor as well. So yeah, it was just some like normal questions that like what I was looking for, and what did I do in my because like she already knew that I was in a boot camp. What did I do in the boot camp, and why did I want to work in front end instead of the back end? Like normal generic questions that that went quite well. And then we had the test, and the test was not, and I don't think that happens very much, because that was one thing that I was super terrified, was that the tests would be like in the interview with the coders looking at me and solve this, and you are there under pressure. But no, that didn't happen, and I don't think that happens very much. They just sent me the code. They sent me the like a repository with the test, and I at home, I just solved it, with no pressure. And then I had, yeah, of course, then they liked the test, and they called me in for a second interview where they it was like an introduction of myself as a person, like a little bit of my story, where I came from, how did I get here, like not on a technical level. It was all very personal for them to get to know me. And and then they briefly talked about their stack, like what they do, which languages they use, and what the platform was about, what the product was about. But yeah, the main purpose of that interview was basically for them to get to know me. Then I had a third interview where we did that was more like a technical part, where I had to explain my test, go through the code, and explain the logic and everything that I did, basically, so that they like learn my line of thought while I was doing it. And in that same meeting, they talked a little bit more in depth about their code and about their platform. They actually showed me the code of the platform, and more or less the stuff that they use. And again, a lot of the stuff that they use was things that I already knew from the Craft Academy bootcamp. And then the fourth meeting was like the more contract thing, like negotiating salaries, conditions, all that. And then I signed the contract. But yeah, it was 4 meetings and the test after.
Cool. But I also sent you to another company at some point. Well, I connected you with some other guys, and that was, if I remember correctly, that was a situation where you went to 2 meetings, and where the reality didn't quite line in with what they also try to convey to you in terms of future development plans. Could you just say a few words about that and what sort of experience that was?
Yeah,
for you.
Yeah, that one was really weird. Because I got this meeting because they contacted you, Thomas, to refer some developers to that position that they were looking for, and I went there. The first meeting was super nice. Everything was awesome. They showed me their product was an awesome product, and I had a meeting with the CEO and the CTO, and they shared the vision, because they had a super old platform and everything was built in PHP, and they were like, oh, but now we want to build like a front end entirely in React, and that's going to be your responsibility, because like you're going to be the only front end developer. It's going to be all you. And I was like super hyped. Like it was a huge challenge, but like a lot of responsibility, but like super exciting. So I was kind of hyped with that. And then I went to a second meeting with them where I met like their tech lead, the guy that pretty much wrote the entire platform, and the guy had a completely different vision. He started talking that if I eventually started working there, I had to learn PHP first and learn the platform first, and then possibly in a few years we could go to a new application purely front end in React. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, yeah, pardon my French, but it was weird because it was a super small company. They had like 6 or 7 people, and even so, they were completely not aligned. And the CEO and the CTO, which supposedly are the ones that call the shots, were pretty much under the will of that guy. That he was the application owner. He built the whole thing. So I felt that the guy pretty much did whatever he wanted. So that's when I started to feel that maybe it's not the wisest thing to just jump into the first company that I see. Maybe it's better to like evaluate and see and wait for like the right thing, which I did, and I'm so happy I did. Because even after that super weird meeting, I think it was weird for me as it was weird for the other guy, because then they even emailed me saying that they are not going to continue with my application. And I was like, okay, sayonara. You never. So I don't know if anyone else has any more questions.
I have more questions as always, but Can I ask one?
Of course.
Thank you, Pedro. I was just going to ask you, I mean, just general questions like from you guys, the court, and if you knew from the court before you, like, what are like the salary spans for people like us, basically? Do you have like any idea? Not asking you what you have, you know what I mean, like in general.
Yeah. Well, the normal is like, it's all everyone has got like around the 30,000 entry level, but some have a little bit more and some have a little less, but it's around that span.
That's great. Thank you.
30, 31, 32, 28, 29, it's like around that.
I have a quick question. Hey,
Becca.
Of all of the skills you've learned throughout the bootcamp, like what do you feel you're using most consistently day to day now in your current role?
Well, like maybe like the general answer would be React, because like now my position is front-end engineer, and I only work with React. If going more specific, Redux, like they use a lot of Redux. So I've been working a lot of Redux. And there's this thing that I don't think that it's actually included in the Craft Academy curriculum, but it's like a normal evolution that like I started doing even during the course, which are hooks. You learn how to like do the state management and how to work with React and class components. But like now everyone's going to functional components where you have to use hooks to do a lot of things, and here we use hooks for everything. We even use hooks to make API calls, for example. We store the API response in the Redux store, so we can access it. So like it was super, and again, this was like a perfect fit for me, because like it's pretty much everything that I've learned before, but like a little bit elevated. It's like a normal evolution. So Craft Academy was the perfect foundation for me to now do everything that I'm doing, because I feel that even if I didn't got this job, it was where I was going to. Because even during the course, like I started by myself using functional components and hooks, and here like that's the base, and now we're like expanding on that. So it's a normal, natural evolution. But I think, I don't know. It's good that you like try to chase and look for something that you like, either back end or front end or a specific language, whatever, because it makes it so much easier. It makes it so much easier to learn, to practice. Because if you're doing something that you like, it's a lot easier. And I was just lucky that React was something that I really liked. And working with hooks and Redux and all that was pretty exciting for me, and that's what I got.
So how about that imposter syndrome? Did you feel that?
Oh yeah, but and again, like it's a lot like in like it. I don't know if you guys already felt that, but like when I was there, it was like ups and downs. There was days that I was like nail this feature, and I felt like on top of the world, and I'm the king of this. And maybe the next day I had another feature that I couldn't fix, and I felt like shit, and like I'm never gonna do this. Like that I really felt the imposter syndrome, that no, this is not me. Like I'm not a developer. And here, like it's kind of the same thing. Like sometimes I like do stuff and I feel awesome. Sometimes like I have a lot of problems doing some stuff and I don't feel that great. But I don't know, like I know of developers that have been working with this for like 10 years and they still have the same thing. And I think it's kind of fun, because like the highs are only highs if we have the lows before, right? So that's what keeps the roller coaster going.
Can you talk us through a normal day, if you have any normal days? You come to work, you drink your latte, and what next?
Yeah, like one cool thing here is that we don't have a specific time to start. We normally start between like 8 and 9:30 or something. People arrive more or less during that time, and you also don't have time to leave. You leave when you feel like you've done your day's work. But yeah, I normally arrive around 8:30 something. I do my coffee, pour myself a cup of coffee, and I sit on my computer, maybe wrapping up something that I didn't finish the day before. And then we have a stand-up meeting at 10 o'clock, which is exactly like we did in Craft Academy. We speak about what we did the day before, what we're going to do today, if we had some blockers or some challenges that some other teammate can do. Right now, well, since I'm kind of in the beginning, my time is still a little bit divided on like working on stuff by myself and doing some pair programming with a more senior developer that they had here that they assigned as like my mentor. So I'm coding along with him.
So you guys, are you pair programming?
That was the only thing that we don't actually do here. Like we don't do pair programming that much. We don't Git Pong, for example. Here we do something that we call peer programming, which are we're basically sitting on the same computer, coding together and like discussing what we're doing together. But it's more of an introduction because this is like a legacy code challenge. Because I was given a super complicated application already built, and it's super hard to start because we have to learn everything that is already on there. So in the beginning, it's kind of hard. So yeah, it's priceless to have this guy sitting next to me and walking me through everything. So yeah, this is a very Swedish company. We have a lot of ficas. We have a lot of activities. Actually, this Thursday we're gonna have like a kickoff party that we're gonna go somewhere. No one knows where. It's like a surprise. We're gonna be off on Thursday and Friday for 2 days. But yeah,
they give you a day off after the party.
No, it's Thursday and Friday. We're gonna go
or
somewhere.
both. Okay, but I thought they were smart enough to understand that you're probably gonna be hangover.
Yeah, but we will for sure. But yeah, but we're gonna go somewhere. I don't know where. Like normally, they told me that the past years they went to some cabin in the lake or in the archipelago or something. But it's always a surprise. No one knows. But yeah, we code a lot. But this is a startup. Like I'm coding next to everyone. All the departments are pretty much in the same room. I have like the founders and the product owner and the CEO like right next to me, and everyone is super chill. Like we're always like laughing and telling jokes and listening to music while we work. So it's a pretty chill, which was a great like change of pace after Craft Academy, which is super high paced. Like the real world is not like that, so you can relax a little bit because the real world is a little bit more relaxed.
Hey Pedro, can I ask you a question?
Of course, my friend.
Good to see you again, by the way.
Yeah, you too.
You answered most of my questions actually already, but just curious, like, do you know how it is for the other guys? Do they also have mentors, or what's going on with them? Are they freaking out? Do they get help? You know?
So the thing is, like, yeah, and I don't know to what extent I can like share the other guys' stories. So maybe I'll do it without mentioning or specifying names. There are some that are already looking for other stuff. That the company that person got was super disorganized. They hired him to do one thing that he almost never does. and they stuck him like doing other stuff. Like on the first week, they asked him to be Scrum Master and to run the Scrums like a new guy on the first job in tech. They asked him to do that, and so there are some that are not having the same experience as I have. Again, there are some companies, some startups that are so small that they don't have these procedures in place. Luckily for me, they planned it. Like they had an onboarding procedure for me. Like I had meetings with the CEO where like she explained the whole vision of the company, the whole concept of the platform, and like the UX and the flow that users go through to use the application, about investment rounds, about clients. Like I had everything, all the information when I started. The other guys were not so lucky in the most of the cases, and they struggle a lot. And I know that at least one of them is already looking for another company because he's not happy.
Well, there's always ups and downs, and I one thing that is interesting in that story that you're telling is that they put so much trust in a junior developer. So there's so many things to or conclusions you can draw out of that story. But yeah, I know I've actually spoken to that person, and I know that the situation is not optimal, unfortunately. Now, so I know that I'm going to self-promote the Craft Academy Bootcamp again by asking the question, but be honest with us. We do hold a series of discussions that we refer to as career talks at the end of the camp. Now, in your process of going to that interview and the other company where the experience wasn't as good and stuff like that, did it help you, or was it totally irrelevant, or in what way? Because it's a big transition to go from this high pace, pressure cooker pace of Craft Academy into the real world, and that transition isn't that easy. You were lucky, as you're saying, or you did a good transition. We try to help a little bit with this career talks. Did that work for you at all?
To be honest, when those last 2 weeks came, I didn't want to have those talks. Oh, this is bullshit. Like it's my final project. I just want to code. I want to get this done. But the truth is, and it's true, because like I don't have anything to gain about like kissing your ass or something. The truth is, when I went to the first, I was like, yeah, fuck, this is really, really valuable, because you're actually talking about super specific things that you can find when you're looking for a job or when you're in an interview. And for me, that meeting that we had, where we actually kind of simulated an interview, and you asked me questions and I answered, and you evaluated my answer. Oh, you were right in saying this and that, but you could, in this case, you could also say this and that. And like that meeting for me was like killer, because it's good for you to already have all those concepts and all like you have pretty much mapped idea on what you should say and how the interview might go, because a lot of these interviews is about confidence. And if you go into an interview and you're confident in what you're about to say, and you are not scared about, oh, are they going to ask me about this or that, it's super important to have that confidence. And I got a lot of confidence from those career talks. And even when we started discussing like our whole path through the boot camp, and all the challenges are together, and we started like to think about everything that we've learned and how everything is connected, because that's what you have to sell from the moment that you leave the camp, is yourself and your experience and everything that you learned. And those career talks are an excellent preparation for that. Still, I'm gonna add that well, of course, this depends. If maybe there's people that want to work on a more like corporate environment, maybe this doesn't apply. But for example, in my case, that I wanted to work in a company like this, like a startup, young, vibrant, fun. it's super important that when you go to an interview, you don't only like go with those like pre-learned answers. It's super important for you to be yourself, relax, and show a little bit about yourself, because a lot of times that's what they are looking for. They're looking for to know you, and they're looking to hire a person before the coder, the person. So it's super important that you show who you are, and like just relax and like have a normal conversation, because hopefully those are just going to be your future colleagues. Like it can be a little bit intimidating, but it's super important for you to just relax and like be yourself. And that's what I did, and it worked out great for me.
Final round of questions, guys. Anyone?
Yeah, because I have to go to work.
I know. He
Yeah, I
promised us
thought
45 minutes, so
Okay, I thought, what would you give us for as advice, as preparation for, like, I would have set up my meals differently. I would have spent a week meditating before I started. I would have eaten no gluten. You know, do you have any kind of preparation skills or things to maybe would be easier if you have thought about them before?
But you're talking about before starting the boot camp.
Exactly.
So you haven't started yet?
No. Or
Oh,
I've
okay.
started the online course, but we haven't started.
he's in the prep course.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're in for a ride.
Yeah.
Okay. So the boot camp is not like the seven-headed beast that everyone thinks it is. Because like I know, because I did the same, and probably most of you guys did the same. Like before you enter the boot camp, you go to YouTube and you look for like boot camp experience, and like you see the videos from these kids. Oh, my boot camp was so whatever, and like I don't feel it's like that monster that people paint that it is. One thing that I can advise, and I tell this to everyone, is just one of the major and more important things is to leave your ego at home, come with an open mind, and a lot of will to work. Because that's all, and that's the most important part, is the work. They're like paying the course and going through the course and doing nothing else is not going to make you a developer. It's what you do during the course that will make you a developer. And the coaches are not going to be the ones that are going to do your work. They're there to help you if you need them. But like it has to be you to work. I don't think that you need like any preparation. Just have a decent computer and just go in there with an open mind and a smile on your face and just work your ass off, because that's all you need. And then if you work a lot, you will learn a lot, you'll become good at it. And then you might think, oh, what's Craft Academy's higher rate? Who cares? Like, what if it's the way I thought it, even if it's 10%, I'm gonna be on that top 10%. I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm gonna work my ass off, and even if only one person comes out of Craft Academy and gets a job, I'm gonna be that person. And if you go in with a great attitude, open mind, and work a lot, you'll be fine.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, guys, unless there's any other questions to Pedro, I would like you all to join me in wishing him good luck and Godspeed on his continuous journey. I think you're doing, a fantastic work, and it's been a privilege to have you as a student, and also to be able to take a glimpse into your current life. And don't be a stranger. Come and visit us back again whenever you feel like it. All right.
Yeah, let's have some beer soon.
Hey, I'm coming on Wednesday. A round of applause, guys.
Thank you, people.
Thank you. I
and
see you
good
Wednesday.
luck for everyone.
All right.
Bye, Pedro. Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
Ciao.
All right.